Charlie Sheen once held a title that no actor in American television history had ever claimed: the highest-paid performer on the small screen, pulling in $1.8 million per episode. Not among the highest paid, the highest. And yet, behind that staggering achievement was a man quietly fighting the most private battle of his life, one that no studio greenlit, no camera captured, and no audience applauded. This is the story of how far one person can fall, and what it actually looks like to climb back. Born Carlos Irwin Estevez on September 3, 1965, in New York City, he grew up in a household shaped by artistic ambition, Catholic discipline, and a father the world knew as Martin Sheen. When the family moved to Malibu, young Carlos and his brother Emilio started making backyard films on Super 8 cameras alongside neighborhood friends who would themselves become legends, Rob Lowe and Sean Penn among them. When he began pursuing acting professionally, he took the stage name Charlie Sheen, a quiet act of both independence and inheritance. His breakthrough arrived with Oliver Stone. Cast in Platoon at just 20 years old, Sheen delivered a performance that was interior, honest, and quietly devastating. The film won the Academy Award for Best Picture in 1987. Stone brought him back the same year for Wall Street, where he played a young stockbroker seduced by greed. A role that felt, even then, like it came from somewhere personal. He was 21 years old, with 2 landmark films already on his resume. Then came 2.5 Men. Beginning in 2003, Sheen played Charlie Harper, a charming, irresponsible bachelor living in a Malibu beach house. The character wasn't a stretch. That's precisely why it worked. He wasn't hiding behind a role. He was turning a version of himself into something warm and widely loved. 30 million people tuned in weekly. The show became the most-watched comedy on American television, and the salary that came with it reached a level that, for all its excess, created its own kind of danger: insulation from consequence, at the very moment someone needed consequences most. His personal life during those years was turbulent. 2 marriages, to Denise Richards and later Brooke Mueller, both ended in painful, public divorces. Trips to rehabilitation facilities became increasingly frequent, and then in January 2011, production on the show was suspended, and Charlie Sheen did not return with it. What followed was one of the most widely watched public meltdowns in modern celebrity history. The catchphrases, the live tour, the interviews, all of it generated enormous cultural noise. But underneath it, according to his own later account, was something no one could see: a medical diagnosis he had been carrying alone since approximately that same period. On November 17, 2015, Sheen sat across from Matt Lauer on The Today Show and said 5 words that changed the conversation entirely. "I am, in fact, HIV positive." He had known for roughly 4 years. He described the diagnosis as the most devastating moment of his life, and said he had paid significant sums to people he alleged were threatening to expose his status, claims he made publicly, but which were not independently verified in full. His physician confirmed that Sheen's viral load was undetectable through antiretroviral medication, and that with continued treatment, his prognosis was stable. The silence that followed the announcement was its own kind of turning point. In December 2017, with no cameras present and no press release issued, Charlie Sheen got sober. As of mid-2026, that sobriety has held for over 8.5 years. He has described it not as a destination, but as a tool, something he passes through rather than gets lost in. In September 2025, Netflix released a 2-part documentary about his life, and he published a memoir. He turned 60 that same month. He didn't call it a comeback, he called it a reset. The accounting isn't finished. There are ongoing legal and financial obligations, distances with people he once worked closely with, and questions the documentary left unanswered. But he is present, sober, and still taking his medication daily. He is, as he put it simply, living for the next moment, whatever that turns out to be. That kind of quiet endurance doesn't photograph well. It doesn't generate catchphrases. But for anyone who has ever wondered what survival actually looks like from the inside, it looks exactly like this. If this story stayed with you, hit like and subscribe for more.